Everybody, and welcome to another MX Bikes video. And today, guys, we're on the V2s, all right? The V2 preview bikes. And we're going to be doing the same thing we did when I reviewed the V1s. We're going to be staying on the YZ 250 and 450 just to maintain some continuity and to also kind of, take some connections from the V1s into these bikes right here. Kind of see what was changed, what wasn't. We're going to go to the change logs. And again, before I get into this video, I say this every time. This is just my opinion. You guys got to make your own opinions. You guys got to test these bikes, give feedback to the OEM team. They've been working really hard on these, and they want to push a good update. So I'm going to try to get my feedback in this video, tell you guys what I'm feeling, what I like, what I don't like. If that's something that I like, let's get right into the video, boys. Alright, boys, we are in. We're on the version 2 preview bikes. The second iteration beta 19 previews the work in progress bikes. We're going to start here on the YZ 250, and then we're probably going to get on the YZ 450 for a little bit on motocross, and we're going to switch to Supercross, because for me, honestly, Supercross is sort of the main thing that we need to look at today. Obviously, Supercross is coming up, SMX is coming up, and from the talks I'm hearing, maybe an update could push before SMX. I don't know for sure. Obviously, I can't confirm anything, but that's kind of the whispers I'm hearing, which is pretty crazy. That would mean that the scaling of those tracks would have to be changed, and I don't know. I really don't know what's going on with all that. We still don't even have a date for the SMX rounds in this game, which I qualified for, by the way, 13th in EU 450 class, so that'll be a ton of fun making those 3 rounds. But anyways, guys, gotta talk about these bikes, what we like, what we don't like, and talk about the changes. That's what we're actually going to start with. And that is the change log that they uploaded here. First thing on the list here is tires. Okay, now a lot of people have been saying once they've tested these bikes that the traction has increased, but the OEM guys have been saying technically that's not actually true. What they say here is that they improve the wheel load, resulting in more tire bite. Now this statement is kind of hard to understand. I told them that honestly after I read it. I was like, I don't really know what the hell this means. It's kind of just gibberish to me. Basically, they explained it to where they changed the way that the energy is like transferred into the ground, which apparently has increased quote-unquote tire bite, which I don't really know what that means. I mean, I kind of do. Basically, the way that I understand this is when the tire loses traction, it's not as slippery. Like it's biting more as it loses traction. There's more friction, I guess, and maybe I'm saying that completely wrong, but hey, don't make a statement hard to freaking read and hard to understand if you don't want people to misinterpret it, all right? I don't want to misinterpret it, but it's kind of freaking hard. But at least when I ride the bike in game, what I'm feeling is that when I slide this back tire, I'm going to do it here on this straightaway here to start straight. When I slide it, it feels like there's a bit more friction, and it feels like you don't have to lean as far up once you've turned before the tire bites again. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like point at which the tire regains traction after you lose it is much faster than it used to be. So the point of losing traction, that means is a little bit smaller. So I don't know if that really makes a ton of sense. It feels like you're losing traction when you lean the bike further over now than before. It felt like you didn't have to lean the bike too far over for it to sort of slide out. And what was even really sort of interesting about the version 1 is that when you lean it over in a Supercross corner, for example, like a 180 bull turn, you wouldn't even have to be on the gas for the tire to slide. I thought that was very interesting. Now we're going to test Supercross a little bit, so I can't make any statements about that now. I would assume that that is fixed with the way that they've messed with this whole energy transfer thing. I don't know. It's nerdy stuff. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty because I know you guys don't care. It's really just about how does the tire feel. It feels like it has more traction. Like, I'm just going to say it, even though they probably don't want me to say it. That's what it feels like, right? I'm just going to keep it very simple because who cares at the end of the day? Listen, we're not the ones making the bikes. We don't need to know all the intricate stuff, all right? We just need to know the surface level things, how the bike feels, and try to get feedback off that. But that's not all the changes, guys. They've also made 4 other changes to the bikes themselves. The first one is enhanced usability of higher gears. Now, I think this is probably going to be a little bit more important for the 250s. Now, I'm someone that rides a higher gear. The main reason I do that a lot now is because I've been riding the 450 so much, and I do like to lug it around, and I'm just not someone that likes to be on the limiter too much. Like, I'm pretty much just kind of trying to roll around, be consistent. And also when you're in a higher gear, it makes going through roughness a lot easier. It makes the suspension work more. And overall, that's just how I like to play the game. But when you get on a 250 and play like that, it doesn't really work out super well. It's kind of like, like a real life example would be Jet Lawrence. Some people said that, his style fit the 450 more. It's because that's what he does. He lugs the bike around. He's not high in the RPMs a lot. He's kind of, low revving and just kind of bogging the bike around. And so for a 250, right, it's not the greatest way to ride it. The best way to ride it is like how Hayden Deegan does, just absolute rev bombs, absolute jumps out of the bike, just like just holding that thing wide open. So hopefully, and I rode that, dude, I rode that corner 5th gear right there. It actually felt pretty good, and I've been in 4th gear most of these first few laps, and it's actually working. Like up this hill, for example, See how it maintained speed? I mean, we lost a little bit of acceleration up it, but it didn't bog or anything. Like, it was usable. So maybe that's exactly what they're referring to. Maybe I'm tripping balls, but that's what I'm feeling. So I can definitely feel a difference there. And then the next change is they increased top speed for all bikes, or as they say it, increased maximum achievable top speed for all bikes. All right, I don't know why you word it like that. Top speed's increased. Do I feel that? Not really. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think the change is massive. I'd probably have to sit here and switch back between V1 and V2 to actually truly feel the difference. But it's not a big deal. Like, I believe them. You know, I believe that's true. And I think we're going to feel that a little bit more in Supercross than anything, because obviously that's where the precision comes into play. Motocross, you can kind of just be a little bit of an idiot and work your way around the track. Supercross can't do that, so we're going to feel that a little bit more. Next point is optimized power delivery for all bikes, and then refined engine braking to have a stronger presence. So more engine braking as well. That's also quite interesting. Have I felt that so far? Not really. Not really, to be honest. That's not something, again, that's not something that I've noticed. And the way that I've done this here is I've done some riding on the bike while reading the patch notes, so when I read them, I can sort of determine if I felt that or not. I feel like once you know what's been changed and you hop on the bikes, you're almost like trying to convince yourself that you're actually feeling the difference. So the engine braking, I mean, I can't really feel it. Same with like the top speed. Like I don't know, like, listen, I'm not saying they didn't change it. I ain't saying they're lying, but it's just so negligible. Like, it's not like this massive difference as far as what I'm feeling here. And then the final change was an audio bug. There was like some clicking on, I think, the gas 450 rev limiter or something like that. So they fixed that as well. But that's it. Like, it's a very simple change that has made the bikes feel, in my opinion, a bit different. Actually, more than a bit. A decent amount different, and it's really just all on the tire. I wish I knew a little bit more about the specifics of it all, but that's what they say. Improved wheel load resulting in more tire bite. I mean, I guess. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, more traction. Again, not surprising coming from V1. That was the huge consensus in the community was, hey, man, we're losing traction a little bit too fast here. It's like a little bit of a slip and slide, so that was kind of the difference. But yeah, on this bike, it feels a lot more controlled. It feels like I can keep it controlled, a lot easier bike to ride. And that's something I think the majority of the community is going to like. So yeah, let's move on to the 450, boys. All right, boys, 450 time. Probably just going to do one lap on this thing and just kind of see how it's feeling. Talk about things that I like, things that I don't like. It's probably going to feel fairly similar to the 250 as far as traction. Tire bite. That's what they want me to say, because they keep saying it wasn't actually the traction that changed. Energy. It's like energy transfer. So come from the 250, yeah, definitely 450's a bit harder to ride for sure. I'm on a 120 tire as well, which means it's a bigger tire, thicker tire, shouldn't lose grip as quickly or as aggressively. Definitely kind of is though. But I'm also kind of ripping. Something I've really noticed with these bikes, and I did say this in my first video on the preview ones, these V2s, like, dude, the front end feels so much more noticeable, like how smooth it is in these ruts. Maybe it's just because of the track that I'm on, but the front end feels so stable in these ruts. It's insane. Like, it makes the bike so much easier to ride. Like, it's like all I have to worry about right now is the back tire. I can't imagine if we had the same front end from Beta 18 and then we also had these these new tires. Oh my god. Yeah, that would be quite difficult. So it is very good that they made that front end change. Made it a lot more stable, and it honestly feels like I just can't front tuck. Like, I don't know if what they've done to the front tire or what exactly made this change happen, but man, the front end is so stable. Absolutely insane. These scrubs are also absolutely insane too, because bro, with the less traction on the side of the tire, when you scrub it, it just flicks, bro. It flicks so hard. That's pretty sick. We can get a little bit schmeezy for the boys. As far as sand goes, feels about the same as the previous tire. I actually feel like there's more grip in sand. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely feel a difference in the traction. Or the tire bite. This is tough. It's tough for me to really analyze this. I mean, 450 feels about the same as what I said about the 250. You know, feels a little bit easier to control. I feel like the traction's not as insane. A little bit more controllable, as I am absolutely not looking like I'm in control at all right now. But I think this is good. I think this is good for the community. I think people are going to overall like this. Think it's a positive. And I think Supercross, though, that's what we need to test right now. So let's go do it. So for me, this is really where the real testing is going to begin. Obviously with SMX coming up and then Supercross early 2025. I mean, listen, we might have a full update before SMX starts. Like, at this rate, they already got a second preview out. Clearly they're working hard to try to push this. So I can't confirm any of that, but I think that's possible. So how are these bikes feeling? How is the 250 feeling though? Now, you have to remember, these bikes are not designed for this scaling. The scaling is much larger. It's for the Beta 18 bikes that we have currently in the game, obviously with really, really good traction. And yeah, those bikes are just fast out of their freaking minds. They're so freaking fast. And so when you slow the game down a little bit, it's going to make this track a lot harder to ride. And obviously with the traction loss as well, I think a lot of these triple Ns are going to be tough. It's the same track that I tested version 1 on, and I could get this triple N, and that triple N is going to be easier to hit now. So the bikes are easier to ride. That is a fact. I'm just telling you that right now. These bikes are easier. So if you thought that the preview ones were too hard, get on these. I guarantee you're going to have a better experience, but you're still getting that slip in the back end, and I think that's good. But one of the things that I think a lot of the more experienced guys liked a lot about how these bikes rode in Supercross with the version 1s is that you could cut down in corners, all right? That traction on the middle of the tread was so good compared to that lateral traction that it was almost worth it to not just hold the lateral through the corner, but actually lift the bike up, make it straight, and cut down. I'll show you guys in this corner here. Try to cut down before the rut. People were saying that it was faster to do this, and you'll get more speed. Look at that. See, I can hit that whoop section smooth. Now, probably not as fast if I would have taken that like middle rut, for example. But if there was no rut there, which is something people have talked about, having Supercross tracks with no pre-made, you could form a rut that cuts down there. Like, you could feasibly do it. Now, here, this is a different story, probably. Like, can I get that triple N cutting down? That's something that I want to test right now, actually. If I get this, I'm going to be in 3rd gear. If I can get this here, this is huge. Oh, close. Try one more time. Yep, you can get it. See, like, that's the little stuff that just, oh man, I love it so much. Those things, when you make that change and it just works like that, like the tires just, they work perfectly to make that work and make that happen, that's pretty sick. And so, dude, that's going to determine how these Supercross tracks are designed, big time. I mean, that might take out the pre-mates just right there. The ability you can do that and make that work cutting down, I think that's sick. Now, was that faster than if I railed the corner? No, it definitely wasn't. But the thing with that corner is there's braking bumps before that jump face. And so if there was a ton of E-road, it at least makes it feasible to take that different line. Or maybe you're trying to make a pass, or maybe, you know, the guy that you're following's been doubling in so you can take a different line. That's just kind of what I'm thinking about. And that's a big change. That's a big deal. That's what people loved about V1s, and the V2s do it as well. I'm gonna try to do this one more time. Yeah, just, you gain so much traction when you're on the middle of the treads, but you lose so much on the lateral side. It sort of evens that gap out. It's not all about just railing the outside of the corner anymore. You can actually make cutting down a feasible line now, and I think that's awesome. It's gonna make racing a lot better. It's gonna make passing a lot better. You're not gonna be stuck around. It's like behind people as much, because you can actually give yourself other options around corners in Supercross. Around lappers, like whoever it is. You know, passing was tough in Supercross this year, especially on a 250. You know, I raced the 250 class for a good 5 rounds, and yeah, it definitely got frustrating at times, you know, because in the 250 class, everyone's taking the same lines because we're all riding the bikes to the literal max. Like, we're all on the limiter everywhere. But with these bikes, with the, you know, added skill gap a bit more with the lateral traction, and then having that ability to make passes, it's going to make racing really interesting. And so, yeah, that's really just my my thoughts, man. That triple N is so much easier now. I think it's perfect difficulty. It's not super easy. Like, a beginner's obviously not gonna be able to get on here and hit that triple, but, you know, for me, with 3,500 hours, it's not something that's super hard. You know, I'm not crazily losing the back end, like even around this corner here. It was definitely sliding a lot more on the V1, so that's kind of my thoughts. We went through the change log. Not a super long video. I'm not even going to test the 450 on Supercross because I already know it's going to be kind of similar to this, right? Big lines. I don't think there's probably any massive quads that you can do, but probably just the normal 450 lines from the previous bikes, you'd probably be able to do and stretch out. Maybe I'm wrong on that. At least these bikes make these older tracks more viable. That's another thing that I think is really important, because people did spend a lot of money on these, and we're going to be grinding these all off season, obviously. So that's my thoughts on these bikes. Sorry if it was kind of just a yap sesh. I'm filming this currently at 5:30 in the morning. I have yet to go to sleep. So is that healthy? No, it's not. Is my brain functioning the best? Absolutely not. But if you stayed to the end of the video, thank you guys so much. And thank you guys just for all the support as well. We just hit 106,000 subscribers. So I thought I should mention that. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, let's see the video. Peace.